John Hartson, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Were Wales that good or Ireland that bad?
I think it was a bit of both, actually. I thought the Welsh performance was excellent. I thought some of the young players really stepped up, the likes of Ampadu, Brooks, Tom Lawrence, obviously with the goal. Young Connor Roberts played at right back, smashed in the fourth goal with his left foot from outside the box. But I thought the Irish defended very poorly. They allowed space in behind for Wales to run into. I thought the Gareth Bale goal, as good as he took it, and he's doing that every other week for Real Madrid, by the way. You've got to show him down the line. You can't allow a player like Bale to come inside on his favourite right foot. You've got to show him the body angle's got to be right. Show him away from the goal. They've let him come inside. And when you're looking at Gareth Bale from 20, 25 yards out, 7 times out of 10, he's going to stick it in the back of your net.
Was it a world-class goal, John? We've been having that debate here this morning.
Well, it's a world-class finish, but he's allowed to do it. I think if you're clever. You know, it was almost opposite type of performance that the Irish defence put in against Wales in the second the second leg of when you beat us 1-0, and you defended for your life. You sat back. I think it was Duffy and Clark that headed everything out. And let's not forget, last night you had a very good. You had your best back five there. You got Seamus Coleman. That is fantastic to see him back fit and well and playing again. Duffy and Clark. Ward, who plays for Burnley in the Premier League, and you had your number one choice goalkeeper in Randolph. So defensively, you've conceded 4 goals. Yes, I think the Republic of Ireland and Martin, you know, there was a few problems leading into the game in terms of injuries and a few retirements and things like this. You didn't have the likes of Shane Long available. John Waters will always give you everything. I thought he was very isolated up the top on his own. You know, he looked very much like a 34-year-old, if you like. You know, not much support, but he battled away. But you know, you showed very little apart from 1 or 2 efforts that fizzed across the face of the the Welsh 6-yard box. You know, I think Martin will be scratching his head as to how can my defence play as badly as they did in that opening 20 minutes.
John, how's it going? Ken Cunningham speaking. Are you well?
Hiya, mate. Very good, thanks.
John, there must be a huge amount of optimism around Wales this morning. Just the manner of the performance. We're always talking about Wales's marquee players, but some of the young talent which is emerging within that squad, Ampadu obviously, but even the likes of Lawrence, Brooks, as well, Roberts, who came in at the back, and there's a sprinkling of young talent on the bench. I mean, going forward, there's so much verve and energy to the performance last night. Not just that, good technical ability as well, John, in terms of the quality of football which you played. Yeah. It must be a huge good feel factor around the squad at the moment looking forward.
Well, yes, Ryan Giggs, for all the experience that Ryan has got, you know, he's only had the 3 games in charge up until last night. It was his first home game as the national manager, and his words actually were that performance blew him away. Absolutely blew the manager away, and you know, with the old experience and whatever he's done in his career. But if you look at Mepham at the back, the young, 20 years of age, playing at Brentford, came in alongside the experienced Ashley Williams, didn't put a foot out of place. Yeah. Ampadu, 17 years of age. That boy is an absolute superstar, even now. Look, what type of player is he going to turn into? And then you got Dave Brooks, who I think it was £12 million, who went from Sheffield United. He's now at Bournemouth. Tom Lawrence, I think he's got 3 goals in 4 games for Derby and the Frank Lampard this season. And, well, you know, when you put Bale through the middle. But there's several others. There's young Harry Wilson that can come into the fray. There's Ben Woodburn, who's at Liverpool at the minute. Yeah. You know, he wasn't even in the squad. You know, so it's very exciting for Wales. We're not getting too carried away, but when you can churn out a performance like that, and you've got that little bit of a mix between youth and experience, and the likes of Joe Ledley to come in, Andy King couldn't get in, Sam Vokes could still to come in there.
Yeah, the only thing they're lacking,
so,
John, the only thing they're lacking really is a battering ram of a centre forward, the old traditional style, well centre forward, back to goal, holding up play, shooting off his left and right foot, putting centre halves on their backside. They haven't got one of them, have they?
They don't come around very often. They cost a lot of money, them too, as well.
John, you obviously know Martin O'Neill.
Like, point of view, obviously.
Sorry, John. Sorry to interrupt there.
It's okay.
In terms of Martin O'Neill, like, he's become a bit of a much maligned figure over here, especially in the last couple of weeks, because he went on the charm offensive with a number of interviews, and in a lot of those interviews he talked about his success as a player with Nottingham Forest and all that sort of stuff, and people are kind of taking the piss out of him, like, oh, what's he going to say about his own playing career now after the defeat to Wales? And some of that might be a little bit unfair, but from your relationship with the man, like, is he a manager that can move with the times? Is he the correct manager at a time when Ireland do need to be quite modern and change at almost every level, from grassroots all the way up, and particularly in the senior squad? If you were an Irishman, would you be backing Martin O'Neill for the manager's role?
Well, first and foremost, I have to say I have nothing but the utmost respect for Martin. I can't really judge him as the Republic of Ireland manager because I'm not party to what goes on in the camp. What I would say is I would never ever say a bad word against him personally. It's not for me to speak about Martin. I will leave that to the press, and you Irish, you're not shy in coming forward, like a bit of controversy, you like a bit of a debate. So for me, I will leave that down to the Irish public, to the football fans. They are very knowledgeable. So I would rather stay out of that one. Martin, for myself, he's a great friend. And it's just not it wouldn't be appropriate for me
John,
to comment on his situation as the Irish manager. I just won't go there because I don't want to cause any unsavoury headlines, and secondly, he's a great friend of mine, and I can only judge him as what we are together, the trust and that respect we have for each other. So I'm sorry, I can't. I'm always very honest with you boys. I'm always very, very upfront. But when it comes to a delicate situation for me and Martin O'Neill, he almost like a father figure to me for 5 years at Celtic. So I will leave that up to you guys to debate if you don't mind.
Yeah, look, that's totally fair enough, John. Can we ask you a slightly different conversation, and just on the basis of even what you're saying there in terms of like not seeing the Republic of Ireland that much puts you in a good position to answer this one. What style do you think we were playing last night or trying to play?
Well, you played a flat back four, didn't you? You tried Christie, Walters, obviously you needed to get close to Walters. Hendrick, what Hendrick does, he's a type of player that can get forward and look to play off the front, but I just don't think you kept the ball well enough. In terms of a system, you played 4-5-1. That's what you played. You had 5 across the middle of the park, 4 at the back, and you played with John. You played with John Walters up top on his own.
Yeah.
You never got enough bodies close to him. You never defended properly. You never got your body angles in the right areas. You were very naive. You played a little bit high at times. You allowed Wales to run in behind. So there's lots you can go over. You can go over different players. You can run through it, and I'm sure Martin will get the players in today, run through a video with his staff and point fingers, because that performance last night, by no stretch of the imagination, just wasn't good enough for an international team defensively, and there's no excuses. You've got no excuses with your defence. That defence shouldn't be defending like that. Randolph is your number one keeper, as I alluded to earlier on. You've got Seamus Coleman, a world-class right back, playing every week in the Premier League for Everton. Ward the same, Duffy and Clark. They were immense when Wales got beaten. James McLean, you had no James McLean last night, by the way. So I think you've got to take that into account as well. You've got a lot of injuries. You've had a couple of retirements. Darren Murphy's no longer around. John O'Shea's no longer around. You've got 2 experienced boys there that can point the finger and help the likes of Martin and Roy out in terms of doing it on the pitch. Because when you go on the pitch, manager can't really get too much across. You've got to rely on 1 or 2 experienced players. So you lost a few of them. So for me, as I said, it was 4-5-1 with a view to stopping Wales playing. I didn't ever think that the Republic were going to come to Wales last night and score 4. I just don't think you're that type of team, to be honest with you. I didn't think you had that type of them players in your ranks. You know, and as I said, it's a disappointing result for you boys. And now it's going to take strong characters in that dressing room to turn things around for you.
Yeah, we didn't think you were that team either, but turns out you're doing just fine.
What would you have played instead then? Where do you think that went wrong? You tell me.
Well, it was.
What would you have played as 2 centre halves? You would have played Duffy and Clark.
No, I think
you would have played Coleman, and you would have played Ward. Surely.
I think you're absolutely spot on. We've been discussing it here this morning, and Kenny's been making that exact point that you made. That was probably our starting back 5. Like, look, it's hard to leave the comment that you made about Martin O'Neill and accepting the relationship there, and people are commenting on it. It was clear to us at the time when you made it that you don't want to make any comment on it. In itself almost feels like I don't know, an indictment. I don't want to overly state it, and I'm understanding of the fact that relationship exists as well. It feels like, you know, you've said as much by not saying as much. But look, we're having a bit of a sort of a wake here this morning, almost, John, and we do appreciate you coming on with us this morning and appreciate your comments as well. Thanks a million for taking the call.
Okay, boys, all the
Cheers,
best.
John.
I hope we can get it right.
Yeah, take it easy. Cheers, John Hartson there with the Welsh for you this morning.